Welcome to the EBC-350 instructional video. This is Dave with High Gravity. We're going to go over it together, talk about how to get around this controller. This controller has two heat outputs. This side is the HLT side. It's controlled with this switch, and in a 3-vessel system that would be plugged into the hot liquor tank. The mash and kettle share the same second heat output. In a rim system, you would have your rims element plugged in to this side, and you would be in mash mode here to maintain the temperature of the mash tun. And then when you were ready to boil, you would unplug the kettle, or unplug the mash tun rims element and plug in the kettle, and you would switch the mode from mash to boil, and then select the level of power that you would like. Probably 100% until it comes to a boil, and then something less once it's reached a boil. Oops. Alright. So in mash mode, this is automatic temp control, and in boil mode you're going to select the percentage of the power. In boil mode, that change is immediate. In mash mode, when you make a change, you need to bump the knob again. Save it. These two pumps are manually controlled with the switches. In a Herm system, you would continuously recirculate, and the mash temperature would be dependent on the HLT. This controller is useful for many types of systems. Designed for a 3-vessel rims, but it's the same controller that we use in our 2-vessel rims, 2-vessel kettle rims, I guess. It's got the heating elements in the kettle, and it recirculates between the two with two pumps. The hot liquor tank temperature is selected with the up-down buttons, and momentarily depressing either one will put it in the change temperature mode. It's indicated by the blinking light there. You can bump the knob and then select the different temperature that you'd like it to be, and then just leave it alone. And that will be the new temperature. Once the temperature drops below the set point, the heat will come on, and this output indicator right here tells you that it's trying to turn the heat on. However, I don't have a heating element plugged in on the other end of this cable. I just wanted to be able to show you all the pretty lights. This controller is available with a variety of options. You can choose the cord length and plug type for the power supply, and you can also choose whichever temperature probe you would like from a variety of styles, depending on how you'd like to install them, either in the vessel or in line outside of the vessel. They're kind of tri-clamp, weldless, NPT style. And you can also choose longer probe cables. The standard length is 8 feet, and you can choose 12 feet cables if necessary. This controller requires a 50 amp circuit, the same thing you would have in your kitchen. You can dive deeper and see this controller in action. Click on the link that shows us brewing on our 2-vessel system. If you have a problem with your temperature probe or a cable, and the temperature controller cannot see the probe, you'll see an error message displayed like this. You're not going to get any heat until you fix the problem. It could be a broken wire in the cable. We ship the controller with some of the advanced features disabled. This is so that the controller is most intuitive to use right out of the box. With timer functions disabled, the only menu choices displayed when you push the knob momentarily are boil and mash. If you have the timer enabled, you're going to see a timer reset menu as well. Timer functions are enabled or disabled with the TF parameter, and they're located in the system menu. To go to the system menu, we need to be in mash or boil mode, and then push the button for 5 seconds. Once it's been pushed for 5 seconds, we've got to go to mash, go to boil, or go to system. These are the parameters that will affect control of the system. Under system, we have TF. It's currently set to off. That's timer function. We can turn the timer on and save our change. This is the timer counting direction, currently set to down. You could change that to up. And we'll get through the rest of these. There. So with the timer enabled, you'll see the menu choice will display now when we're going in. This is it. It's the timer reset. Before it displays mash or boil, it's asking whether you want to reset the timer or not. You can hit the button again if you hit that by mistake. We'll go back and turn the knob, brings up the other choices, mash, boil, or reset the timer. The timer can be general purpose, or it can be used to control mash and boil functions. With the timer enabled, you'll want to visit these timer parameters that are under the boil and the mash section. So we'll go to the mash section here, and you'll see that the initial value is set to 1 hour. This is the mash time, and when the timer is reset, it'll start with another hour on the clock and count down. TSP is the timer start temperature. That means once the temperature reaches 151, the timer is going to start. That's your mash timer. ALH is the alarm set temp. It's set to 150, so when the temperature reaches 150, you get a little beep to tell you reached your target mash temp. The EO is the ending option. It is set to off, so at the end of the timer, if it's enabled, the heat will turn off once 1 hour has counted down. With the timer enabled, there's also some parameters associated with the boil. Let's go to the boil parameters menu. And let's go a couple more times. That's it. That's your boil time. The default is 1 hour. It will count down once the boil has started, and the boil temperature set point is 208. So once the temperature reaches 208, the boil timer will start and it will count down from 1 hour.